This is the Cliff Yates Show. Personal growth, motivation, inspiration, and philosophies for a great life.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Cliff Yates Show. I'm happy to have today again my good buddy, my brother-in-law, not just brother because we were in law enforcement, but also brothers in Jesus Christ because, right, the prayer says our Father, so that means we are brothers and sisters. And Tom Vasile, who baptized Alba and I this summer, is also a police chaplain and a retired police officer. Tom, thanks for joining me again. I appreciate this.
Thanks for having me, Cliff. I appreciate that.
And so how did you become, you're a police chaplain actually for Rochester, New York Police and Monroe County Sheriff. It's one chaplaincy for both agencies?
Yes, we're called Flower City Chaplain Corps, and we supply chaplain care to the Rochester Police, Sheriff's Office, the Irondequoit Police, okay? And in actuality, what we do is we stand by for their call. If they need us, they call us, and then we respond. It's a little bit different than proactive work, but some of the proactive work that we do stands and holds true because we have lunches with the officers every summertime. We get together and try to get to know them. We can visit all the roll calls if we like. And there's probably around 18 of us. And we're just putting another class through in January of next year. So the classes go 12 weeks, one night a week, and it covers everything that's got to do with PTSD, mental illness, how to prevent suicide, things of that nature that we should know, and how to deal with crisis intervention and how to be a crisis intervention recipient. Some of the things that are different than us, most of the things that are different than us that from other chaplains is our training and our education, because we also have in-service training that goes along with it. Next year, we're going to be having a one-day in-service training on just suicide and how to prevent officers from committing suicide, which is increased over the years because of all the pressure on them.
Yeah, that is so true. Go ahead.
We also have a road into the fire department in the city.
Oh, good.
We've been talking with the fire chief in the city, and we've been talking with the 911 dispatcher, the director there. You might remember him. His name is Mike Soretto.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, he's the 911 center now. So
wow.
It was pretty comical when he came to one of the first meetings we had with him, and I was sitting there. He says, "What are you doing here?" It's kind of a home week sometimes, every once in a while, which is good.
Yeah, and we talked about this before, but I just love that you are, you're preemptively, you're contacting the proactive stuff. We're meeting, having lunches. Let's have dinner. Let's have lunch together, so that you're meeting in a non-stressful anxiety or police situation. And then later on, when you show up, it's a friendly face, right? I mean, that's one of the main goals.
And one of the good things about it is we're trained in de-escalation, and we respond. We're clergy response for the Rochester Police Department's homicide unit. So when they have a homicide, they call for a chaplain. The chaplains go down, and they kind of hold interference for the officers trying to do their job, especially some of these homicides nowadays. They're kids that are shot right in their own yard by drive-by shooting and things like that. So you get the family involved and everything else, and the officers really need a little bit of support with that. And
so instead of, who are these guys showing up now? It's like, thank God you're here, because now I can use you as a tool in dealing with this situation, because now I got a family or associates or family related that are, they're in chaos because of emotions and what's happened. And I'm trying to do an investigation of my crime scene. And now you're like another tool in the tool belt. And that's great.
Right. That's right. Now, not all the victims respond to the chaplain thing or prayer or anything else, but we know the officers do.
Right.
They always.
Yeah.
We have had chaplains to go to homicides that the body is covered up there. They let them right in the the area that they got closed off, and
Yeah.
then they stand there and they pray with these officers before they start doing their work,
Oh, that's
which is an
great.
awesome thing. Uh,
That
they
is
also
awesome.
they also have us going to and scheduling chaplains for devotions at all the roll calls every month. So we go in, the chief allows us to go in there and do a little devotion with those that want to stick around. And then we sit and we pray for them and everything else before they go out on duty, which has been really, really helpful to them. And the
That,
guys who
yeah.
started, guys and gals that are chaplains, they're getting to know some of these officers personally, and
Yeah.
they reach out to you when they have an issue. So that's the biggest thing with police. You know as well as I do.
Yeah.
That blue wall is really difficult to get through, and that's right. And you don't
Yeah.
trust anybody, but it takes a little while. It takes time, but it works well. It really does.
Yeah, so that's great that you go to these briefings, right? Because then this is what, this is what we do. This is when we show up, this is what we can do. Because now, I'm sure with the believers, officers, the people that, that are true believers, the friction's low, but maybe those who are not with Christ or, there might be a little bit more friction as to, inviting you into the scene or using you as a tool. But when you
Yeah,
go to the briefings, go ahead. Yeah.
it really works. It really works different with some of the non-believers. They kind of ride along with the believers, and they just kind of fill in, and they accept the chaplains being there,
Good.
even though they don't believe at this point in time. They allow that to happen. The first call that I went to was when the officer got shot last year. One of them got killed, the other one got shot and injured. He was at Rochester General, so I was sent with another chaplain to Rochester General. We prayed outside the room for him and their family. And before I got there, I was in the car, and this was the first time I did this. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a circus. I'm
Yeah.
not going to be able to find a place to park, and everybody's going to be resistant. But I got to tell you, I got to Rochester General. I showed my ID to one of the security guys there, and he said, "Go right in and go park right where the ambulance people are."
Oh, wow.
So I
That's
go in,
great.
and as I'm getting out of my car, I go to open the door, and the door opens for me, and there's two young cops standing out front, and they're there to escort me into the hospital. And I was
Wow.
just really, really, really surprised at how that happens. But they're getting used to it in the city now, anyways, and they're getting used to it. And they call us every time they have a homicide. So whether we
Yeah.
go to
And,
the scene, go to the
yeah.
hospital,
God.
you know,
What were you wearing? Like plain clothes with like an ID around your neck, or do you have like a?
yeah, we have an ID, but we have sweatshirts, and we have shirts that say chaplain on them so that they see who you are,
Yeah.
And we have a dress uniform, but that's only for funerals and stuff like that. So, but
So that's good that
normally,
you had such a positive response during that situation. That I'm sure you reinforced the agency, like, "Hey, this went so great, and thank you. Your officers escorted
oh
me in,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
showing positive reinforcement to that type of thing, right?" That's
Yeah, absolutely.
and it
We got
probably gave the other chaplains like a little bit of a little bit of peace knowing that you had this experience.
yeah, and you know what? It's hard. Cops are hard. I
Yeah,
mean,
of course. Yeah,
they know that when they know that I'm retired and I got a background, and even in the city, a lot of the cops know my son because he's still on the job in the city.
yeah,
So it makes it a little easier for me. But some of these guys, they call me up after they get done doing a devotional and say, "This is the worst crowd I've ever talked in front of," because they're quiet. They're quiet and they're very
yeah.
to them.
No, they
They
are
don't
as
they
just
don't
as a
say it,
culture. Yeah.
but the culture, yeah, that's right.
So and now these chaplains are so you have chaplains who are non law enforcement, right? They don't have any law enforcement experience.
Yeah, some of them are non-law enforcement. Some of them are pastors of churches, and we've got about six retired and active police people that are chaplains. Our chief of police in the city is a chaplain. He went to our school,
I remember you
and him
telling me. That's so great.
and chief are chaplains now too. So you see them. They got the little cross on their uniform, and
Oh,
it's a good example. It's a great example for them.
yeah, that's right.
Ones that are on duty, they can counsel and they can minister to the guys that they work with.
Wow.
And it's like, they say, they have a peer counseling and stuff like that. But,
Yeah.
if you're having an alcohol problem and there's a peer counselor that works with you, you're going to compete with that guy for the next promotion. Why would you tell him everything that's going on? With a
You're not going to
chaplain,
do it. No.
that's right. A chaplain can't say anything. They can't do nothing. According to law, they can't be
Yeah.
subpoenaed or anything else. So, it's confidential. And that's the leg up that we have a little bit with that.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, to reach out. Are you getting any do you get any officers who accept Jesus through your experience with you guys, or just
Oh, yeah. There's been some that have gotten saved. And our goal really, and the executive director's goal here is to maybe try to save at least 10% of the cops in the city. And that would
wow.
be over that would be a joy, because when the difference, but when you're saved and when you're not saved,
Yeah,
there's certain things that you do and you don't do
that's right.
anymore. And it's as simple as that. You
Wow.
change. You're a
Yeah.
person of change after that. So
Man, so you really got to. You're
there,
dealing with. So you're dealing with the officers, and then on a scene, you're dealing with. So let's go back to when you were dealing with the family. How do you? So you said some people might not be receptive. Do you just? How do you come out? How do you broach it? Are you people Christians, or are you? How do you do that?
what we just take the stand of just standing there and allowing to make ourselves available if they want. They see the chaplain signs on you.
Oh, and they come to you then. They know.
They come to
Okay.
you, and you don't force the Bible on them, force God on them at all.
Right.
If they, I mean, I've been to the last one that I was at. I was at a hospital, and the family didn't know that the individual was dead yet. The
Yeah.
doctor went in, told them, and notified them, and then they all kind of went nuts. And I was standing there with my Bible in my hand, and I just really didn't do nothing. Just stood there and prayed at that point in time to myself for them, because I felt bad for them. But you know that they're lost. They're not.
Yeah. That's
They're
right.
not believers. First thing a believer would do is get up off the couch and ask you to pray for them. But these folks just didn't know
Yeah.
what prayer was all. You know?
So yeah, my training officer in L.A. and we were working Compton, South Central, and so my TO was black, and so we were going to a dead body call, and so he was explaining to me before we got there. Now listen, in our culture, in the black culture, they're really going to be, they may throw themselves over the gurney or on top of the body, and so you got to deal with that. Don't panic, right?
That's the
So,
way these folks were. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's what they were running in and out of the room. They
yeah,
were screaming, yelling, and doing all that and being mad and all that. And
yeah,
that's understandable.
yeah.
But people that are saved just don't do that anymore. I mean, they've got a different outlook to it.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it was good that he gave me a forethought to know, hey, expect this, and this is
Right.
this is a little different. He would tell me, and so I was learning, and so
Yeah.
so you've come across the same, different cultures react differently to death, and
Oh, they
yeah.
do. They do. They do. Well, it's great that we're having this talk, because this Saturday is our benefit.
Oh,
We're having
really? What
a
is that?
jazz concert benefit, Christmas jazz concert. We're teaming up with one of the local jazz bands that is a ministry, and they're going to come over and they're going to do music for us for free. And the person that's in charge of their ministry, it's called Bethel Express. He used to be a chaplain for the NFL, so he's going to be our keynote speaker.
What?
And
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
yeah, he's a
Oh,
pastor, and he runs this Bethel Express. And what they do is they take kids off the street, uh, it, kids in the city off the street, and they tutor them. And they've got 100% graduation rate
oh
that
my
they've been doing.
God.
They've been doing it for over 20 years. They have a breakfast for them every Saturday, and they're just taught the word, and most of them that get saved. And the jazz band consists of all of the students that grew up.
What?
They, yeah, they're all the students that grew up. So what's really good about it is that he's known these guys forever, and now some of them are pastors. They're
Jeez.
pastors of their own churches and everything else.
Yeah.
They don't practice. They get together and they jam, and they sound
Yeah.
spectacular. They really do.
So,
And God's hands on that ministry. So
so this is a benefit. Is this for the Flower City Chaplains? Is it
yes,
organization or group or?
yeah, it's actually a fundraiser for us because we're going to have a silent auction table. We have food and all that type of thing.
And
But
this pays
it's
for all your like maybe clothing or
yeah,
it
for
funds you.
the lunches. Yeah, for the lunches, for the
Okay.
we're asking for donations now for scholarships for people that want to be chaplains but can't afford to go through the school. You
Yeah.
know, it costs $700, $800
Wow.
to get through the school because you have to pay for books and the instructors and everything else. So, but
It allows you to do more things and outreach to the departments. You
yeah,
kind of focus on the law enforcement, right? But now you're reaching out to fire, kind of first responders, really, right?
yeah, just first responders is what we're looking at. Yeah, yeah. The next step would be getting to the EMTs, and that's a
Great.
little different task too. So,
Yeah,
but it's
because
okay. It's run by God, and God is opening up the doors. So
that's
we
right.
just that's all there is to it. We just pay attention and we obey the best we can.
That's right. The it's great. You're having a jazz band at the for the benefits. So I know you have one in Rochester. So Alba got it connected, and she made us members of this Italian American club in Brevard.
Italio.
Huh?
Italio.
Yeah,
We've got one here close. Yeah, we got one here in Rochester.
and it's just
It's,
amazing.
they
These are
had,
all.
yeah, they had us over to their
Oh,
dinner one day meeting, and we did a presentation for them. The chaplains did.
oh
So
my God, that's great.
yeah,
And they're all most of them are older people, and they're good patriots
great.
and God fearing people, and so Alba said, "Hey, we're going to go to this. Do you want to go to this?" And I thought I better go along, and it was a jazz festival, thing,
Really?
and
For Thanksgiving.
that's just 2 nights ago, and so
Oh, really?
it was three bands, and like you said, a lot of these people had never played together before, right? So they were jamming, but they had one guy,
It really is.
and I just love hearing all the horns
I know.
together with the. Oh my goodness, I don't know. I guess jazz.
Exactly.
Alba and I told Alba I could listen to this all night, and
Bunch of guys that just know a lot about music, and they all
yeah.
get together and play.
And one
That's
guy,
great.
he's telling them, all right, back off, guys. I want the brass to, come in softer. And we're going to start this. All right, bass and drums, start us off. And boom, they go into a Christmas thing. And sometimes he would announce beforehand, all right, we've never done this before. Whatever happens, happens. And man, these guys come together. They got trombones and clarinet and those 2 or 3 freaking
That's
saxes.
cool.
And yeah,
That's
boy,
awesome.
we loved it, man. It was great. Yeah. So that's going to be a good time you're going to have there, man. You're going to.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's great. So you're doing really good things, and congratulations. Now you're officially a pastor at your church too, right?
Yes, I am. I am. I was really stunned by it, but it was a God thing. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It was just a God thing.
How is that? Is there any kind of commingling of your duties, or is it just totally separate?
Well, what they try to tell you in the beginning is just keep doing what you're doing, and things will just come along.
Yeah. Trust in God. Trust in the Lord.
Yep. And I'm mainly I'm still doing the radio program,
Yeah. How do you like
and
that?
I like it. I really enjoy it. It's really
Yeah.
fun. Fun. And then I'm still doing that, and then I teach once a month on the fourth Sunday of every month in the evening, and then any time else that they need me to fill in, you know. The
Wow.
pastor calls us to fill in when he goes on vacation and does all that. So
Yeah, and do you get to preach on your? Are you like? Does he like sometimes doing a series? You continue it, or if you fill in, do you do your own thing?
we do our own thing. Everybody's got their own thing that they're following because it's
Gotcha.
done by the Holy Spirit, you know. And when I first started, I've been going through the Bible, the book of Romans since well, it's got to be since the beginning of 2023 because it's only once a month and it takes you a while, but it's
Yeah,
good. I'm on chapter 10 now, so I don't have too much farther to go.
yeah. Wow, that's good. Jeez, and do you? Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So you kind of answered my question. So you take now you've taken Romans and maybe like this year, our church did a year of prayer, right? And they were asking the how you can do a whole year on prayer, but of course he did.
You know what? Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, I think he could do
A
another
lot
two
there.
years. Yeah, and so
Yeah.
do you kind of do that? Like you're sticking with the Romans for, and then you're going to do a fill in. So then
For
do you pick
now,
something?
and then I'll pick something. I'll pick another book of the Bible, or there are some guys that they do. Uh, instead of following the Bible line by line, they do topical studies, and they do that like within 45 minutes or so. They'll do a topical study. If they're doing one of the books, they may take a break from the book one time and do a topical thing. You know, um, I like to stick to the Book of Romans only because the Book of Romans you can learn a lot by it. You can learn a lot
Yeah,
from it, and it's all about doctrine. It's got nothing to do with Paul writing like he wrote to the other churches for discipline or for
right.
enticement
Yeah,
or encouragement, but Romans is a book of doctrine, and doctrines you need to know. And then
right,
he gets into the differences between the Jews and the Gentiles, and that there are no difference, but the Jews follow the law and the Gentiles follow faith and
right.
grace. And you can't get saved without faith and grace. So
That's
you
right.
can't get
Yeah, and they
saved
come
under law.
together. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Because you can't do the law. You can't be perfect at the law.
No, it's
You're
impossible.
always
Yeah.
because we're all sinners, and we
What
all have that.
is the chaplaincy? I'm going to your chaplaincy. Sorry, I jump around, but is there like a national organization of police chaplains too, or are you connected to any larger
We're
organizations?
not. Yeah, there is a large organization, but we're not connected to them. We're not. We kind of do our own things, and that's what makes us different. A lot of people say you have to go to a seminary to be a chaplain. You have to have a master's degree and all that. This is done by the Holy Spirit,
Right.
and
Yeah.
we only take people on that are saved and know how to be born again, and are born again, and that have a little bit of articulation of the Bible because they
Yeah.
may be asked something,
Yeah.
and
That's right. Yeah.
those are the people that we pick. A lot of people say, "Well, you're discriminating." No, we're not discriminating. That's the qualifications. It's
That's
simple as
right.
that.
Yeah.
You know,
Do
and
are
we're
you
glad to.
do you guys have to be like you have a wealth of resources? In other words, maybe the family, do they like come and say, hey, what do we do for the body? Where does the body go, or do we contact the morgue? Do you have those resources, or did the cops do that?
Yeah, we've got the cops ask for our assistance sometimes now. We got a chaplain that's going to marry somebody next month.
Ah,
He's his is getting married, so our rules about that is that you have to go through a marriage class because you
yeah,
have to learn how to counsel someone for a marriage, and then according to the law in New York State here, chaplains can be to oversee a marriage, and they could sign their name to that thing.
oh,
And if
okay,
for some reason it doesn't work out in a certain town, they won't accept it. They just take one of the pastors with them, and the pastor can oversee the ceremony, and then he can sign off on it after they get done. So there's always a way to do that. But the fact of the matter is that we have pastors here too that can do that type of thing. Uh,
man, that's great.
do
Are you able
that
to?
isn't
Are you able to, like in California, right? We have someone who passed, or uh, we had to stay there, right, until the coroner came or the morgue came to take the body away as a police officer. Can you guys do that in place of the cops, or do they still have to
Oh,
stay there?
absolutely. If they ask, we will. We'll
Oh,
stay with
that's
the
great.
family.
Stay
Yeah,
with the family
absolutely.
until they come, and yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, we'll do that for them too. And then we'll make death notifies with them and anything that they want us to do or get involved in. But the key here is that rather than to kind of push yourself in, we wait until they ask for that assistance,
Right.
and they call us, say, can you assist us in this place and that place? I received a call one night from the undersheriff, asked me if I could go to Ogden Police Department, which is a
Yeah.
small town. And they had a truck driver there who they just brought back from the hospital. He got injured a little bit. He hit a car from behind. And he didn't know it when he left the scene, but he didn't realize that the lady in the car in front of him is deceased. It was a fatal accident for
Wow.
her.
Yeah.
He didn't know that. So when they brought him back to the police department, they wanted somebody there to be able to notify this guy what happened. And we went, we talked. And this guy was pretty well versed at the Bible too, which made it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But it was an encouragement. It was a thing that we were there. We prayed with him and everything else. So, but those are some of the things that they call us for, and it works good.
That is great. All right, well, just a couple. I'm going to let you go here, but I want to ask you. You're talking about Ogden. What about you and I both worked south of Rochester in up Livingston County, right, a rural county not too far from you. But do they have a program there, or how do you work with other?
I don't know if they do or not, and we're waiting so that we get more chaplains on, so that we reach out to some of these other departments. Now I know Wayne County has an in-house chaplain that they made, who used to be a Flower City chaplain.
Yeah.
And he left the organization and was doing ministering in that jail in Wayne County. And then the sheriff asked him if he wanted to be a chaplain for the department. So in any event, he's doing a good job, and he, he fits in good over there. So
what would the path be? Let's say Livingston County, you're talking to a deputy over coffee, a good buddy of yours, and then, hey, I'd like to start this in Livingston County. Would he first go to your academy, or would he go to his sheriff and maybe ask the department to pay for his, his tuition, or maybe he would do it on his own and then?
Yeah, we'll take him in if he's saved and the sheriff wants to pay for his way. That's perfect, because the RPD we've got 2 active officers coming to this next class.
Wow, that's great.
They're both being paid. The city's paying for both of them. So that works out really good, because the chief in the city is really supportive.
Yeah. Those 2 officers, will they be able to wear something on the uniform even while they're working regular patrol?
They wear a cross. They wear a cross.
Oh, is it on the uniform, like stitched in, or they wear a cross? Or
it's a metal cross that they can.
Oh, like a pin, like a pin.
Yeah, like.
Oh, I like that. Oh, like a gold cross, or.
Yeah, right now we have 2, 3, I think 3 active police officers that are chaplains.
God, that's so great.
I'm trying to get my son to go too, but
yeah,
I'm not ready to give up.
It'll happen though. Right, you got to you have to keep nudging until he said, you can't push right away.
Well, in fact, he's speaking at our dinner on Saturday night.
What? That's great.
Do a little bit of a speech on how he was struggling and they didn't have any chaplains to address. And then we have a guy who he works with is going to be on next and going to give his testimony on how the chaplaincy kind of helped him along. And he was getting ready to have a divorce and everything else, and he got saved.
Great.
And everything is great. So,
all right, before I let you go, do you guys have is it a small, is it like a mission statement of something? This is what we do as a chaplaincy. We are there to.
We do.
Is it kind of like a truncated version? Is we are there to provide,
provide assistance to first responders.
Oh, okay.
And to enable first responders for someone to go to in case of an emergency or some type of counseling. And we're just basically want to bring the mission is to bring the community and the police back together again.
Oh man, that's great.
For a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like the catalyst in between to bring them back together again, which is a good thing.
That's a good thing, Tom. Tom, thank
Absolutely.
you. So we learned a lot about the Flower City Chaplain. Is it organization or?
Flower City Chaplain Corps.
Oh, I like that. The Flower City Chaplain Corps, everybody out of Rochester, New York. The website is Flower City Chaplain Corps?
flowercitychaplains.org.
.org. All right. Tom Vasile, thanks for joining my good brother-in-law and brother in Christ our Lord.
Glad to talk with you, yes, and give our love to your lovely wife.
Please hang around for a little debriefing as I go off here, and everybody's going to probably look into the Flower City Chaplain Corps, and maybe they'll join up. I hope so, or at least they'll support. All right, brother, hang around.
Okay.